So thank you, Dr. Namrata, for inviting me to speak on viral keratitis. So I'll be limiting my talk to viral keratitis diagnosis, and of course, HEADS came 20 years back. That is hepatic eye disease study trial. But what's the implication of that, and what's beyond HEADS? We can look into it. Viral keratitis is specifically, it is different from bacterial and fungal keratitis, which we already heard before, that it's chronic, it is recurrent with frequent relapses, and it's not, I mean, initially it was said that it's not commonly seen in developing countries, but it's not uncommon. We do see it quite commonly. It's painful, it's a sight-threatening infection. It leads to recurring stromal and endothelial disease. That's important over here. The recurrence in viral keratitis is a big bugbear of this particular problem. It leads to morbidity through, because there occurs corneal scarring and neovascularization, and hence reduce in the vision, and affects the quality of life, and patients are not experiencing active infection. So this is a typical picture of a viral keratitis which you may see. A patient may not have much of a symptomatology, maybe just a bit of photophobia, saying that has a foreign body sensation. If you are not very vigilant, do not see the patient properly on a slit lamp, you may miss it. And this kind of a lesion which you see, very typical dendritic keratitis, you see with a little broad beam. If you have a thin focal beam, you may again miss it. So have a little broad beam, and this, of course, I've magnified the same thing. And whenever you're in doubt, always do a fluorescence staining. So if you have a nice fluorescence stain, once you have diagnosed it, you all must have seen this kind of a lesion. It's very easy to treat. Put the patient on topical acyclovir, 3%, 5 times a day, and call the patient definitely after 48 hours. I definitely see the patient at 48 hours, and this is when the resolution already starts taking place and patient starts becoming stain negative. So important thing is, pick up the case at this stage, start the treatment, and call the patient after 48 hours. There are very, very few cases of resistance to topical acyclovir. So if the ulcer is not healing, we'll see why it's not healing. This is another form of manifestation of viral keratitis. The dendritic keratitis is a typical epithelial kind of a keratitis. Then there is another form in which we have epithelial and stromal form. That's the geographical ulcer. So you may have a geographical ulcer, maybe having some infiltrate. You might be confused that it's a bacterial keratitis or not. And this is when you stain it, you can get a lesion like that, ill-defined border, but this is when you will see that there is epithelium and underlying stroma, there is cross-stromal edema, which gives a picture like that. And only when the lesion starts healing, you may start seeing small pigment in the capes over here. So this is actually a relatively commoner form of presentation. Another form of herpetic keratitis is herpetic stromal keratitis. This differs from epithelial keratitis because this is an immune response to epithelial disease. This is where when the virus is actually not replicating, it's only an immune response, and it's a reactivation of the virus to the latent herpetic simplex virus. It may be a non-necrotizing or necrotizing. So we do see a lot of times a necrotizing inflammation to viral keratitis. It's not uncommon. The whole of the cornea may be yellowish with intact epithelium, and that's when you may really think that am I dealing with a fungal abscess. So the hallmark here is intact epithelium. So when you really stain it, you may get stain negative. It may be focal, diffuse, multifocal, and may be associated with anterior uveitis. Another form of herpetic stromal keratitis is a disciform keratitis, where there is a local fusiform edema. Necrotizing stromal keratitis has necrosis, ulceration, dense infiltration of the stroma. And this is the kind of keratitis where the HSV DNA is present, and there is a severe inflammatory response which may result in thinning and perforation. So if we really look at some of the cases of presentation, so you may have this kind of an isolated edema present like this. So this is actually both the eyes of a patient who had undergone a left eye corneal graft, because patient by the time had presented to us had simple corneal opacity. So there is no way to know if the reason why the patient got corneal opacity was initial herpetic keratitis. And during the follow-up, patient presented to us in the right eye with this kind of an isolated corneal edema. He had already had a phaco done before, and you can look at it because we really make a good slit through multiple areas, and you can see there are some deposits which are present on the endothelium. This is a typical disciform or a stromal keratitis. Do a stain. In case the patient is stain negative, patient needs topical diluted steroids and maybe a cover of antiviral, but only OD. So once started like this, you see a fuzziness over here and see how the cornea starts getting clearly more well defined. So once the lesion starts healing, the edema goes away, but it does leave a thin, faint scar. This is a typical necrotizing keratitis which I am trying to talk about. When you have a lesion, patient may give a history of recurrence, has a small corneal opacity, and this is the area which is like dense yellowish. You really start thinking, am I dealing with a secondary infection in a case of viral keratitis? So this is the infiltrate over here, and there is present thinning along with it. And this vascularization over here tells you that this is the chronicity of the disease. This is a typical necrotizing keratitis, viral keratitis, and patient needs oral antivirals in this kind of a condition. So you really look at it, how the patient came, and there's a yellowish look. Patient was put on 400 mg 5 times a day oral acyclovir, and within a week, this infiltrate area upon which I was looking at it, that starts reducing, and ultimately, of course, it disappears. And only when it completely disappears, you start the patient on topical steroids. So it's a combination of topical steroids, topical antivirals, and oral antivirals. This is another presentation of a viral keratitis when you get a diffuse, it's like maybe a complete circle, 8 millimeter area of a corneal edema. Deeper layers of the corneal stroma are diffusely affected, and usually there is no associated epithelial lesion. Very, very important to do a fluorescein stain, say that there is no epithelium affection, and that's the time when you start the patient on topical steroids, and of course it has a prolonged course. As I told you, the biggest bugbear is recurrence. So this is one typical case which I'm trying to show you. At one point of time, the patient had this kind of a simple corneal opacity. He was a one-eyed patient with, of course, 6/18 vision maintaining. And much later, maybe about 3 months down the follow-up, he presented with an increased area of affection. And since I make slits from multiple areas, at one particular area, it may be a simple scar, but there is one area which is showing a localized area of corneal edema. That was good enough for me to say that the patient has got recurrence, and go by patient's history. These patients are very, very specific that the vision has gone down. This is another case which is again a one-eyed patient. You can see these multiple lesions, one lesion here, one lesion here, and this is actually a recurrent multifocal stromal keratitis. So you might keep thinking it's a healed viral keratitis, but important to know that which area of the cornea has got localized corneal edema. That means that the recurrent stromal keratitis is coming up. Another form of viral keratitis is a herpetic endothelitis, and this is when they present to us with stromal edema, and differential diagnosis is CMV endothelitis. This is one patient who had had a multifocal done years back. During the follow-up at 3 months, she complained of diminished vision, and surgeon was of course very sure that surgery was uneventful, and if you really look at it, she had developed a small area of localized edema. And it's not uncommon that patients undergo uncomplicated phacosurgery, and they may come to you at a later date with endothelitis, and there are present a localized Descemet's folds, which of course went away with topical steroids and combination of oral anticyclovir. Another form of viral keratitis is a trophic, indolent kind of an ulcer. Earlier it used to be called as a metaherpetic keratitis. We no longer use that terminology. And these are of course much more commonly seen in zoster keratitis. This is a typical resolved ulcer with thinning. Very important to make diagrams and your own drawings which actually help you later, because I have patients now coming to me for past 20 years. Whenever they have a recurrence, they'll come to me and I'll compare my initial picture of what they were. I never rush for surgery in these patients, because surgery, corneal graft in these cases, usually long term does not have a good prognosis. So the common presentation of viral keratitis is a combined one, where the epithelium and the stroma. So you see the epithelium is in the form of this dendrite, and underlying stroma is in the form of a corneal edema. So important to see which layer of the cornea is affected, accordingly give that particular therapeutic modality. This is another case who had a simple corneal opacity, one-eyed lady only, other eye was not there. We did a phaco and we weren't too sure if it was viral, and of course during the follow-up when these patients are put on topical steroids post-phaco, she developed a secondary infection and a hypopion. So there was recurrence of viral keratitis post-surgery. Now if we really see the implication of herpetic eye disease study, they have come up with these three things, that topical corticosteroids, they significantly improve the stromal keratitis vis-a-vis placebo with significant reduced time to resolution. So if you have a stromal keratitis, give topical corticosteroids under cover of antivirals, but only OD dose, so that you do not have any side effects of topical antiviral. Topical acyclovir is associated with a lot of epithelial toxicity and dry eye. At times I have seen patients on topical antivirals continuing and thinking that the ulcer is not resolving, but actually what the patient is having is a toxicity to the acyclovir. So that is one thing which you really have to be very clear about. So 5 times acyclovir is pretty toxic, but we need to use it. Then I'm a big fan of oral acyclovir. Oral acyclovir is beneficial in, if you see a stromal keratitis. They found in that study that when used as an adjunct 200 mg 5 times a day, that statistically it was not much better, but we find that when we give it early, it leads to early resolution in stromal keratitis, so lesser scar. So if I have a patient who is getting recurrent stromal keratitis, I put the patient on oral acyclovir 400 mg 5 times a day in acute phase, and once it heals, I keep the patient on 400 mg BD at least for 6 to 8 months, and keep telling the patient that the disease is known to come back again. The moment you have it, please come back early. So, and it's minimal toxic, keep getting the LFTs done, and I have patients now who are on long-term oral acyclovir 400 mg BD and no recurrence. And of course, HEADS 1, the third part said that oral acyclovir is definitely beneficial in cases of iridocyclitis. So of course in US the acyclovir is not available, they use only TFT, and the hallmark of herpetic iridocyclitis is it is associated with very high intraocular pressure, also in cases of stromal keratitis. HEADS 2 said that there was no additional benefit of 3-week course of oral acyclovir in preventing. If I have had an epithelial keratitis, it doesn't prevent, but it is good therapeutic modality. It was also said that oral acyclovir, it reduces the recurrence rate of HSV epithelial and stromal keratitis. The different triggers were surgery, injury, laser. They did not find any statistically any particular link, but in clinically experience we do see these are the triggers for HSV, and HIV infection is more than 3-fold in cases of, if suppose you should get the HIV done so as to rule out underlying that, because they are much more prone to get HSV keratitis. And treatment options I've already talked about. Topical acyclovir is the first line treatment. It has less ocular surface toxicity. Topical TFT not available in Indian market, but used in US market. It is used 9 times a day because of the low bioavailability, and it has ocular surface toxicity. The newer drug is ganciclovir. It's a new synthetic medication. It has a more broad spectrum antiviral coverage, effective against HSV, varicella zoster, and CMV. Oral medication is preferred to avoid ocular toxicity. I mean, a lot of places they are avoiding topical medication and giving oral, so that which can complicate and obscure the clinical picture. Other drugs are valacyclovir, which is a prodrug. It's a new antiviral prodrug which can be given 1 gram 3 times a day in acute cases. So these are my indications for dealing with systemic antivirals as per as the HEAD study, that definitely it helps in prevention of recurrent episodes of herpetic keratitis, and systemic valacyclovir is, they say, is as good as oral acyclovir, and the doses is less. but there's insufficient data when compared to acyclovir. There's no RCT available. Valacyclovir can be used as an alternative to acyclovir because sometimes patients don't like to take the drug 5 times a day. So it has been seen that 800 milligram acyclovir 5 times a day is equal to 500 milligram valacyclovir BD, or 400 milligram acyclovir BD is equal to 500 milligram valacyclovir OD. Only thing is valacyclovir is little more expensive. And this is about the ganciclovir. This is definitely not superior to acyclovir. Only thing is that ganciclovir may be used less often. And recurrent, very hardly any cases of recurrent HSV has been proven. Whenever you do a PK in case of HSV keratitis, they may be associated with glaucoma, more chances of graft rejection and disease recurrence. Future is in the use of immunomodulators, gene treatment, disc vaccines, and latency associated transcripts. So this is just the future which I'm just skipping. So we need to really understand, when we understand a trial, and see how we can replicate in our particular treatment practice. Thank you very much.